Hey guys, what's up? This is Skyle with another episode. Today, my guest is Elijah of the band Father Before Me. Correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. I love it when I get a band name right. I should. It's my job. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, no problem. No problem, man. So let's dive into Father Before Me. Um, Listening to it, I'm going to describe you basically as progressive punk rock. You write some very complex lines and you keep it going like there's no tomorrow. I'm pretty impressed.
Thank you, man. Thank
So
you.
no problem. It's like Rich Kids on LSD meets dude, I can't even compare really. But tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm a musician, punk rock kid from New York City. I grew up in Queens most of my life, and spent a lot of time moving around and getting into different circles and different music backgrounds, and from skateboarding and going to school with just a bunch of different people to listening to all sorts of different types of music. I gravitated towards punk, being like a skateboarder, just never really quite fitting in anywhere, and punk was just like that home for me. And as I grew up, I branched out into different genres. I mean, my dad was an opera singer, my mom was a hippie, and my brother was a metalhead, and most of my friends growing up listened to everything under the sun. So it kind of just this mix of just everything just hitting you all at once. So that's kind of how this kind of came about.
Nice, nice. Um, so are you just a one man type band or do you have session musicians come in?
So it's kind of complicated, but the simplest way I can put it is I was in a bunch of bands, and I was in one main band. Not a lot of people maybe know it. It was very underground. We were called Jump for the Sales, and basically same style. And we were a band. It was basically the band that dropped out of high school to start, and that band went on for about 8 years, and kind of fell apart. And I was just going crazy. I really wanted to keep playing music, and I was dabbling into like home recording setups. So, I got a MacBook and like a small little everyone's 2i2 little Scarlett interface, and I started recording stuff. And I was just like, shit, like I've been playing drums as long as I've been playing guitar and bass and singing. So I was like, let me go record some songs. And I went out and recorded with Carson, Slovak, and Grant MacFarland of Think Loud Studios, and now Atrium Audio. But yeah, I went and recorded it myself, and it never really intended. I mean, I always wanted to play live with it, but it was always kind of like an internet band kind of thing. So I guess
Right.
you could say it started as a solo project, and then COVID hit, like literally like months into me releasing this. So I had a bunch of material, and I just put it out online, and I would film music videos as if I had different band members. I'd dress up in a different outfit, and I kind of just did that for a couple songs, a couple EPs, and then I was like, I really want to play live. So reached out to a couple of my musicians that I happen to know, and it's kind of become this band that's kind of a solo project. Um, a guy that I follow a lot, Bacon Bits. He basically says that like all bands are technically solo bands. There's always one guy kind of like under the umbrella doing everything. So while it is kind of like my passion project, I do have band members. And I do have like a go-to people that I rely on, and I guess session musicians for that part. And we've been playing a lot. I guess we started playing live in the end of like 2023, and that's kind of how that got started. And yeah, I have session guys that play live. I mainly do all the recordings, but yeah, we've just been focusing on like playing a lot and like touring and doing as much as possible.
Nice, nice. So talk about touring. Where all have you been?
So, being that we're from New York City, we've done a lot of the tri-state area, Jersey, Pennsylvania area, South Jersey, New York City. Last year, we did my first time ever leaving the country. We did the Canada tour, or a Canada run. We did 3 days up in just north of us. We did Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal, and we actually big shout out to Alex who helped us set that up. And we're actually going back out September 25th. We're going back out to hit some shows up in Canada, and then we have another 4-day run 2 weeks after that with a band called Taken Alive. Good friend of mine, James, helped us set that up too. So we're just trying
Nice.
to like just play as much as possible, but also not play the same market too soon. Just try and not
Brace
sat.
yourself a little bit and take it
Yeah,
gradually.
not oversaturate the market, because a lot of times if you're just starting out, it's totally fine, you play a couple of the same bars, but after a while I feel like it becomes harder to get people to come out to shows. It's like, oh yeah, you're playing this show this weekend, oh but you're also playing this other show in a month in the same area, like, oh, I'll just catch the next one. So we try to make our shows feel like events, so it's like we
Nice.
only play New York like maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay. Okay. That's understandable. I know New York does have a phenomenal punk and an even more amazing hardcore scene.
Oh yeah, oh
Um,
yeah.
they're like my favorite hardcore band is from there, Sick of It All.
Oh
So,
fuck yeah, dude.
so
Yeah.
I mean that's my go-to hardcore band of all time. Don't do skateboarding that much anymore. I'm getting a little too old for that shit. But
Yeah, I feel that. I feel that. I actually grew up a lot. Being from New York, I was very privileged in many ways, and music was one of those things. One, you jump outside, you have a skate park right in front of you, and two, I grew up around all the hardcore bands. To the point where I used to go to like hard back when like the end of CBGB's. I was going to like the hardcore matinees and stuff, and I actually was not like friends, but like we'd run into like Agnostic Front and guys of Murphy's Law and stuff, and just so many different musicians, and it was just I grew up around that, so it was very tight knit into the whole family brotherhood thing was really cool, and I adopted that in my own way too.
yeah, that's the thing I like about the mentality of the scenes is a lot of them are like a brotherhood or sisterhood or basically just a family
Yeah.
of tight knit people. And I loved experiencing that when I could, especially when like one of your musicians is like, oh crap, I can't play. Then you'd have another member from another band going, hey dude, I know your stuff. I'll play for you. And I was like, cool, let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely. Like, I really highly admire your scene. New York hardcore is where my heart's at for the most part. So thank you for being a part of that as well in your own rights. So what bands got you into punk? I'm always curious about that with people.
Oh man. I mean, I'm a child of like the mid to late '90s. So like the first band that got me into like, oh, I mean, shit. I'm a huge nerd. I mean, I love Star Wars and Ninja Turtles and comic books and stuff. So I guess like one of the first few things that really kind of like started it were like video games like Mega Man X and like the Power Rangers theme song were kind of like what I guess kind of kept that in alive for me. So like that grafted me to always be like, I like rock music. I like fast, like doom ga da doom, things like that. And then well, the first band I ever became obsessed with was Blink 182. Absolutely, just they were like, I know they're pop punk, but they were like the first band I ever really got into. And then I picked up weirdly enough, the next I used to just buy CDs from like Coconuts or FYE or whatever. And the second album I bought was Guttermouth, the album formerly known as Full Length LP. And then I
Nice.
just started just getting into all these, like, got into the Offspring, and then I got into like, I get into more pop punk. I was getting into like MXPX, like branching out on the pop punk, and then I started getting into more hardcore stuff. I started listening to like Kill Your Idols and Murphy's Law, and then going to like older stuff and like the Ramones, and just it just was like this cancer that spread of like the whole punk genre. It was just like pop punk and then ska and then Catch 22 and just all these bands, and then in the early 2000s was when I started going to shows. I was like old enough to like kind of sneak out of the house, and the first show I ever went to was a local pop punk band called Patent Pending. And they were very pop punk. They had a lot of ska roots in the beginning, but I just started going to like local shows, and it was a lot of local bands really. And it seemed to be like the pop punk, and then like Midwest emo was starting to come out. And I was starting to listen to bands like Taking Back Sunday and Brand New. And I just started branching out into everything. And then that was when like Screamo was coming out, so I started getting into like that stuff. And then while still holding true. Like every time I like pick something up, I was like this giant like piece of Velcro. Like I just didn't let go of anything, you know, and I still listen to the same stuff I listened to when I was 13. Um, and then it was my brother. I'd been playing guitar for like 4 years, and he started playing for 4 weeks, and I was like, "How are you better than me?" And he was like, "Because he was playing like, you know, metal and shit." And the first record he showed me was Rust in Peace, Megadeth, and I heard Marty Freeman play, and I was just like, "Dude, this is sick! Like, I want to play like this." You know, it's very like, you know, video game kind of like shreddy. And then I just started getting in the metal, and I started getting into like Children of Bodom, and then like At the Gates and Lamb of God, and then a band that really was like a bridge, I guess, for like pop punk kids in metal was like Avenged Sevenfold, early like Waking the Fallen and stuff like that. And then I started getting into like the underground, like post-hardcore, metalcore stuff, you know, Poison the Well, and it just, again, I was like this piece of Velcro that just was latching on to all this stuff, and it was a never ending cycle of like, ooh, piece of candy, ooh, piece of candy,
Piece
ooh,
of
piece of
candy,
candy.
piece of candy.
Yeah, never ending cycle. And even till today, I'm always finding a new band that I become obsessed with.
So what? So all right, then I'll challenge you. What's one of the new bands you're obsessed with?
A lot of the newer bands, there a lot of like I'm listening to a lot of like Japanese bands, honestly. A lot of like Japanese punk. This band called Forget Me a Knots. It's like FOUR, Get Me a Knots. They're a band that I'm really into. I guess they're like a newer band. They've been around for a minute, but like I guess Bayside was a newer band too. And just like a lot of just even weirder like proggy stuff too, like Thank You Scientist and things like that, and even some of the more experimental hardcore punk like Wilhelm Scream, things like that, and just
Yeah.
but a lot of like Japanese punk bands. Honestly, sometimes on my iTunes, it doesn't even say the name in English, and it's just I'm like, oh, I like this song, so I'll save it and stuff. But that's kind of what I've been really listening to a lot. And they've adopted a big skate punk community out there where it's like it almost sounds like anime openings, but it's like really fast and like really like do like that really fast like hardcore punk kind of sound. New bands, I don't even know honestly. I'm always going back to old stuff, but I'm always picking up like it's usually a band that's like not really that heard of. Like
Okay.
very you know, kind of underground, but you know, like you know, kind of bands of our caliber too.
Nice, nice. I understand. And after this, you're gonna have to send me a list of some of those Japanese bands because the
Oh,
only
for sure.
Japanese band that I know that I really love is High Standard.
Oh, if there's
Uh,
one I could show you that like they're called Maxim the Hormone. They span like genres like left and right. It's like a mixture of like I can't even begin to tell you. It's like they go from like in one song. It's like it's I don't know how they do it. They're so good too.
all right, I'll have to check them out then. Maximum the Hormone. All right,
Yeah.
jot that down. But yeah, yeah, no, High Standard. I fell in love with them when Fat Records put out, uh, the Too Fat or whatever the sample they always put out.
Oh,
Um,
they're great at putting new bands on out and stuff.
yeah, may that record label rest in peace.
Yeah. No, I mean, I still think of it as like they're still. I mean, most of the bands, a lot of Fat Record bands, like actually a newer band I found out about through them was the Flatliners. I was obsessed with those guys for a while. They're from Canada too, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they are, yeah. But I got one of those samplers because anytime they put out a sampler, I'd always buy it. And High Standard was on there, and it was my first kiss. I think was the name of the song, and it was just so catchy, and the hooks were there, and the vocals, and I was just like, this is pop punk royalty to me. Because I have a big heart for pop punk. I mean, like I'm, Blink 182 left an impression on me when I first heard their song. This is growing up, or I guess
Yeah,
this is growing up. That song hit me, and then Enema of the State album came out, and it was just like they were
yeah,
everywhere,
they blew up everywhere.
and they're still going strong now.
Yeah,
Um,
it's really cool to see like the original guy, one of the original guys back in the band, Tom. So
yeah,
it's really cool to see them putting out records. And it looks like they're having fun, which is the most important part, you know.
yeah. I mean, with any music, having fun is the most important part because if you're doing, I always tell people, if you're trying to get into music to make money, nah, it's
Yeah.
not. It's not going to be the lifestyle you want. But that's just from my experience only. Other people have different sayings, but I usually tell anybody that if you're looking to gain money, just not going to happen. It's just
Yeah.
not.
It's more just like, like there are ways to make money. It's just like that should not be the reason you get into it. Like there's always ways to like I guess mitigate expenses, but I mean like I would do this for free. You know what I mean? I do this for free most of the times. Like when we do get paid, it's like, oh wow, like really? You sure about this? Like you sure you want to give me this? So it's anytime we do get any type of money, I'm very grateful. But even still, I mean, I've been playing music for so long that I'm going to be in the red for a very long time. I don't even want to consider how much money I've put in the music over the last 15 years.
I understand that. I understand. I still think I'm paying off bar tabs
Yeah,
from 20 years ago.
no, for sure.
Sending them a check for like 1 penny, be like, here you go, here you go, here you go. I'm not even sure we played your town, but here you go.
Yeah, just in case, just in
Just
case
in
you're,
case.
just in case we were played on the jukebox somewhere.
But all right, I'd love to ask this question too. What is a crazy tour story you have?
Oh man, ooh, it's funny because like, here's the thing about tour. Everyone thinks that like, oh my god, tour, it's crazy, we're fucking up bathrooms and shit, and tour is literally just this. I gotta pee. Can we pull over? Like, it's just like crazy tour stories. Oh my god, I'm blanking right now. Of
See,
recent.
it could be a recent. For me, it was nothing we did. It was always the craziness around us because we were
Mm,
boring. We weren't partiers by any means. So it was always just the weirdness around the venues or bands or
oh
people that were
yeah.
at the show. And we were just like, oh, fuck, man, we just played some like happy go lucky pop punk for you guys and you're wanting to fight?
Yeah.
Jesus, I guess we got to change our song structure.
We gotta go lighter. Um, we haven't really had, you know what it is? It's like I don't want to be like that guy that's like, I'm from New York, I haven't seen anything weird. It's like a lot of it I'm desensitized to, but there's one story in particular that it was the first time I ever went on tour ever. I was 17 and I got asked to play for this band. They were called Soho Violet, and I had to learn all the songs like 2 weeks before we went on tour. And I was 17. I didn't think I was gonna be able to go. I like was scared to ask my parents, and they actually let me go, which I was really surprised. I basically ended up almost dropping out of high school for it. But we were on tour, and it had been a crazy week of like the van breaking down, and are we gonna go? But we're outside this venue, and we played like a famous skate park in Tampa, and it was just the weirdest thing. And like one of our band members, I forget who it was, but pissed at on the side of the van of the other band we were on tour with, and we were like, okay, we had the pee, like the cops had pulled us over because our van was going too slow. We broke. It was like a whole thing. It wasn't like we got pulled over for anything. Um, that's shit. That's another story right there. But anyway, we're at the venue, and all of a sudden we decide to like we're gonna we're gonna sleep the night outside of the venue in the parking lot. And then all of a sudden, the singer of the other band gets on top of our van and just starts pissing all over it. He's like, "This is because you pissed on our van." And the next thing you know, members from the other band are pissing on our van, and we're pissing on their van. And it's just the weirdest thing. And it was just like a very bizarre. Um, I wouldn't call it crazy, but like it was just one of those things. And like being so young, I was just like enthralled by the fact that like wow, I'm thousands of miles away from home and like I'm pissing on some stranger's van. And the crazy part about it was we it was so punk rock and so like wow, we're in the depths, we're sleeping in a van, there's no heat, we had no AC in the van, so like windows were open the whole time. This was the middle of summer and we're in Florida. And the next day we have a day off, and the guitar player, apparently his sister lived in the neighborhood. And like I'm thinking we're just gonna go stay at like just a house or whatever, but her sister was married to this really rich guy. So the next
Nice.
day we go to this mansion, and it's like, dude, the entire 2 weeks I've been hanging out with these guys, we're like sleeping in vans, sleeping on the side of the road because it's too hot to sleep in the van. Van is breaking down, our pets heads are falling off, and we're in a mansion the next day, and I'm just like hanging out, in a hot tub, just like what the fuck it was just it's not crazy, but it's like crazy to me because it was kind of like it was almost like a lesson in patience, I guess. It was like
Yeah,
we were so, should we do the tour? Should we not do the tour? Should we go home? Should we keep going? And then by the end of it, we're like in this rich dude's house, like hanging out, and I'm just like, this is very, very weird for me. That's the craziest, weirdest. I think it's like the craziest in my head experience. But I mean, as far as touring goes, like we've always just done pranks on each other. Where like just like random, like, oh, you fell asleep with your shoes on, so you here's some shaving cream kind of thing. Or yeah, I can't think of anything off that top of my head recently.
that story was worth it alone right
Yeah,
there.
like, but I always carry that with me, and like I don't think our tours have been anything crazier than that. We always run into crazy people shouting weird stuff, and we're always parking in weird spots and seeing crazy shit happen, but nothing that crazy, I guess. Tour's actually really boring unless you're into that. Like I love being on the road. I love, like, I'm so excited we're getting to go out this fall and stuff, and I can't wait for it. And just like being out, being in a new place, playing shows to different people, that's kind of like the that's why I love doing it. I love traveling and playing and stuff. So it's like best of both worlds for me.
So what's the future for your band right now? What are you guys working on?
So I've been working on a lot of new material. I released 3 EPs, 4 songs each, and it was kind of like a planned release. But I've been really just trying to write some new material, and I have a lot written. Just trying to like consolidate it. But I'm working on like a full length album this time, and we're gonna do the whole, single release one song, release another song, then eventually drop the whole album. But I'm really just working on that and just trying to we're currently, well, I'm currently acquiring a van soon because we tore out of, like, I have a Toyota RAV4. You know what I mean? It works. It's my daily driver. I can fit all the equipment plus me and my wife and like one member and like all our equipment, and then we go in double cars. But I'm working on getting a van so that we can go out and play more shows and not have to sleep on someone's floor or sleep in a hotel and spend a bunch of money, and kind of just mainly just trying to play as many shows as possible. And
Nice.
speaking of Japan, I'm in talks with someone to try and get us a like a week out there. It's logistically it's hard to figure out because it's like you have to do it 9 to 10 months in advance. So trying to figure out, okay, when's the best time to do it? When's a good date to do it? But that's basically it. It's just we're putting out new music. Always trying to like up our game of our live performance, new songs, new places to perform, and just just continue the momentum that we have.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Elijah, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to send me some of those bands you're talking about from Japan because I
I
definitely
will.
want to listen to some of those. Guys, please like and subscribe, but not to me, actually, to Elijah's band. Uh, so do it. And if you don't do it, well, it sucks. I don't know what the hell's wrong with you. But also, the name of his band is Father Before Me. Just making sure people get that out there. But yes. All right. Well, you guys, thank you for tuning in to another episode. See you on the next one.